All right, welcome back to the channel for another video where I'm talking about the market and how I'm looking at trades overall for the week and what setups I'm currently in for the week. This right here is my first trade right here on EuroCAD. As you can see, it was a very simple breakout and pullback method and going for a straight buy. If we start from the 8 and 4 hour, we can see exactly what I'm talking about. We can see how price action been breaking above, pulling back to the same level, only to push higher. And that's why I got it for my buy right here. You can see how we have a past level of resistance, and then price action breaks above that level and then pulls back to the same exact level, right? And that caused it to go even higher. So the same thing I saw right here, I saw a breakout, right? And I'm looking for the pullback to the same exact level. This is very simple stuff to just be very simple and very easy. So every single time breakout pullback on the higher time frame, once I see that, I will go down to the 4, to the 3, to the 2, and the 1 to see can I find my entry. And you see even here on the 4-hour time frame, it's a lot even more simple how we're seeing the breakout pullback every single time a new level is broken above, right? You see a breakout pullback here multiple times before it goes even further back to the top side, right? Same thing here. We said last time, breakout pullback, it goes up. So breakout pullback going up, we're going to always look for the buy in that kind of direction. And it's all really about looking at price action patterns. Once you have the breakout, once you have that pullback, you're looking for price action. In this case, it would be the bullish, right? It can be Morningstar, bullish engulfing, dojis, pin bars, anything like that on the given time frame that gives you indication is going to go for a buy. So if you're seeing this trade right here, I got it for my buy right around here, and it pushed all the way to the top side for about 100 or so pips in a single day. That's a really good trade you're making right there in a single day, right? If you're using a standard lot size, a 1.00, you're making over $1,000 on that trade. And with a 2.00 over 2,000, right? You can simply do the math. You're making a lot of money in a given single day in a single trade. That's why sometimes finding trades like this can be very worth it. You can make a lot of profit, be done for that day, and then look for your next best trade. But the money is very important to me because I said, once you understand how to take profit and how to consistently do that, you can always be more patient on your next trade. If you take 1,000 profit here, 1,000 profit here, 1,000 profit here, right? Every single trade, and not be so worried about what's going on in a total, right? As far as a whole entire market, like you're not worried about what's going on in British pound JPY and Euro JPY and gold and this and that. If you learn how to just be consistent and find the profit, take the profit, and learn how to move on, that's the best way to really gain a decent account and get them gains you're looking for each and every day. So taking profit is a very big thing about that. If you're making 137 pips in one day, take that profit and be patient and worry about the next trade. There's nothing wrong with that, especially in the beginning of your career. If you are a brand new trader, is very important. But this right here, like I said before, a very simple setup. Breakout pullback, looking for the buy, even going down to the 3-hour and the 2-hour time frame is very easy, right? Even going down here on the 2-hour, which is where I took my entry around 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. in the morning yesterday when I found this trade right here. And I was looking for that take profit at least back here because that's where it currently stopped out at, right? So it's a very important thing where it previously came to the top side, it stopped right there and it pulled back to that same exact past level, this same past level, and this new level right about here. So that's very important. You have the breakout, you have the pullback, and then boom, you look for the buy to the top side and you make all that great profit. Now, every single trade can be this simple, but that's some of the things you just have to wait for. Breakout on the higher time frame, pull back on the higher time frame, use price action in that area. You can see how right here, if we get even bigger, we can see multiple morning stars that formed here in multiple dojis and pin bars as well, which is why I got it from my trade, right? It spent so much time above this level. You can simply understand what you're looking for. Even going down to the 1 hour, you can see how price action pushed up right about here. And this is where I kind of got it from my buy at once these recent lows right here were taken out, right? So when it got above that level and broke above these level right here, I got it from my buy for that day. And you can see how far it pushed to the top side. This right here is great trading, very simple method, right? You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to put so much into it. You just have to wait for a few certain things to take place in the market and then simply go for your trade. But it's the same thing if you entered on the 2 hour, same thing if you entered on the 3 hour or the 4 hour, right? It's all the same entry. It is sometimes you got to be a little more patient before you find your trade. Also, remember, right, this week is NFP week, okay? You are going to have some heavy fundamentals. Like I said before, I use Forex Factory to track my fundamentals. It's a very simple website that gives you all the great details and the heavy fundamentals that's going to be released for that given week. And as you can see, we do have a lot of fundamentals for this week for a lot of different currency pair, especially USD. If you are still tracking USD and the DXY, well, NFP is one of the weeks you got to watch for to see how the market is going to react to that big data, especially things like this right here. As far as like how we had today we have Chairman Powell speaking. It's going to be heavy impact today for the market when this comes out. We also have pending home sales. We have job openings. We have GDP. We have so much going on right now. Today is going to be a heavy fundamental day. And the way you can deal with this is you can decide to not trade today, as far as not trade the market and not look at any pairs, but simply understand what's going on and how the market will react to these certain fundamentals. And that way you're being a student, right? You're studying and seeing what's going on as far as like what happens when the news is released and how it affects the market. Do it shoot up and spike up back and forth? Do it go for a buy for 100 plus pips? Does it get shaky and things like that? Whatever. All days like this and weeks like this, the first Friday of every month is very important to keep track and be studying to see how the market is going to react to that data, right? Because this news come out every single month on the first Friday of every single month. And it's a heavy impact data and a heavy impact trading week for many traders. So always keep that in your mind. So today we do have a lot of heavy fundamentals when it comes to all this data for USD. So make sure around 8:15, if you are not in a trade, you probably don't have to take one if you don't want to, or if you are in a trade before 8:15 a.m., make sure you do have a stop loss. So if something happens, a spike or whatever, you have a decent stop loss to avoid losing all your capital on that trade. But like I said before, we do have a heavy fundamental week, and usually this is how it is on the first Friday of every single month in that first week, okay? So really make sure you are tracking your fundamentals and understand what's going on here. We can also take a look at the DXY. That's one thing I want to really talk about as well to see the sway it has on the market, right? We can see what's been going on in these previous weeks and what's going on right now and what can we expect to happen, right? We do know that these fundamentals are going to affect the USD dollar, right? It's USD. So if you're trading anything like Euro USD, British Pound USD, USD JPY, pretty much anything that's countering or basing USD, you're going to be affected by these fundamentals, especially when the chairman speaks, right? When that comes out, not everybody fully understands what he is going to say or what to fully expect. So that can really throw the market off balance a lot of the time, where that's when you see those spikes and big heavy bars going different directions at the same time. You know what I mean? So be very cautious of that as well. But looking at the DXY, we can see we are still down below that key level I was mentioning last time. This key level right around here, okay? We're still down below this level. So as long as we stay below this level, I do expect the dollar technical wise can keep on falling to the downside. As far as we can have probably a pushback here, right? And then come just crashing back down. That is one option. If the data comes out real good, as far as like he's not going to as far as like the Fed is not going to keep on hiking up interest rate, the dollar might fall, right? But it does come out that he is hawkish and he is going to keep on hiking interest rates up and keep on building things up from there. As far as like he see inflation still on the rise, he will increase interest rates even more, and that may cause the dollar to push up in value if he does re-increase interest rates even more. But if it stays somewhere around the same kind of level and things like this, like as far as job openings and things like that are a decent number as far as the data, then you could see the dollar continue to fall back down as inflation and things like that is also falling back down as well, right? So when it comes to a technical standpoint, I do believe we're going to see a pullback here and then see it drop to the downside, but it really all depends on what he says today. You feel me? Like this right here going to be a very, very big indicator of what he says, because it's all going to deal with how he affects the market. Is he going to increase interest rates? Is he going to stay the same with them? What's going to happen, right? But we do know the dollar is going to be affected by that data. So keep that in your mind, right? If we stay below around 108, right? 108.01, we stay below that, I do believe we can continue to the downside and it will keep on falling, meaning that euro will rise, British pound USD will rise, right? Currencies like that are based in USD, right? They're going to rise up, right? But of course, if we do see the Fed increase rates even more, we're probably going to see the dollar break above that level, pull back, and then start pushing back to the top side. That is one option. One of the great things about trading, you can only go up, you can only go down, right? So if this is not going to happen, pull back and drop, it has to break back above that level the same way it did right here. Break above, pull back, and then shoot back to the top side. So this right here is really a heavy day where you want to keep track of what's going on fundamental wise and as well technical, because that's the way we trade. We look at our trades from a technical standpoint. We're using price action, right? So make sure you are keeping track of your fundamentals and to simply see what's going on, right? It's all you really have to do today as well as the rest of the week, and especially on Friday when the NFP data actually comes out. Today, you can definitely look at all the heavy fundamentals today and see how it affects the market as far as the DXY, but Friday is when the actual data actually comes out, and you definitely have to be wary of that day to see what you're trading. Are you going to stay out? Are you going to trade it? You got a stop loss on and this and that. So it's very, very important, right? One other trade I've taken this week so far is NZD JPY and British Pound JPY as well, where I made some very, very decent gains on the market before it kind of pulled back, right? I was in for a short and I made some decent gains on the breakout and pullback. This is what I mentioned last time, why it's so important to understand when to close out your trade. If you're making 100 plus pips, 70, 80 plus pips in a single day, you can close out and take that profit. That's the whole name of the game, to take your profit. You can see simply how I got in on this trade. Breakout, pull back. When I saw that, I entered right around here, around like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. in the morning. I got into that trade right here, and I made a lot of decent profit, right? This is early on in the week, the day before yesterday, when I got into this trade, and I made all this money to the downside right here. But that's the key thing, guys, right? Knowing when to close out your trade. When I made all this money, that's over 138 pips. That's a lot in a single trade. If you're using a 1.00, like I said last time, that's 1,300. Anything beyond that is even more profit. A 2.00, 3.00, you're making a lot of money. Just really understand that. And this morning, we can see how it pushed back to the top side of this huge bar. When you're seeing things like that, you can just simply understand you're closing out before you hit break even if you hold on to the trade. But like I said, if you understand how to simply take your profit, how to simply understand when you want to close out and when enough is enough, you will always be able to make money at a decent rate. It's not about making 20,000 per trade, 50K per trade just yet. You're looking to be consistent, 1,000 here, 700 here, maybe 500 there. That's how trading works, right? So this right here was my other trade on British Pound JPY, where I made about 101 pips before the pullback this morning, right? It's a very simple concept, very simple trade. You can see how even here in the past, breakout, pullback and it went to the downside. In the past, it fell all the way down. This time, not so much, and that's okay. Fall below, pull back, you're still making a very decent amount. So always gotta remember, take your profit. Being consistent is the most important thing, and have a good day, guys. See you next video.